And welcome back. I'm in an airport, as you can probably tell, and I'm going towards the event in which Fujifilm Italia is going to present us the brand new X-T30 Mark III and their brand new X-T30 III mm f3.5 to 6.3 kit lens. What we know is that the camera is going to be an evolution compared to the X-T30 Mark II, which is the entry level with the viewfinder, because we all know there's an entry level without a viewfinder, that is the XM5, and it's a good evolution. You get the new processor, which gives you all the autofocusing modes that you now have on Fujifilm, and the improved autofocusing as well. You get the new film simulations like the Real Ace and Nostalgic Negative, which were not available in previous models of the X-T30. You get the film simulation dial, which is going to be part of the integral part of what Fujifilm does with their lower tier cameras. So there are a lot of new things, and together with the new processor, you get a lot more video-oriented features. Despite the camera being not oriented to vlogging, because you cannot see yourself, the monitor doesn't flip towards you, but still, if you're behind the camera, you're going to get pretty nice video results. The camera is going to be sold at 970 euros in Italy. I don't know the US pricing. You're going to find it on the screen right here. And together with the camera, we have the brand new kit lens. The kit lens is a very interesting one. The focal length is equivalent to 20 to 50 millimeters. Yes, it's not the fastest. Yes, it's an XC lens, so it's not the top of the line from Fujifilm, but still it's an interesting lens, because most of the time what we miss is the potential to go wider. So being able to go to 20 millimeters equivalent is going to get you a lot more possibilities and a lot more freedom. So that is an interesting lens as well. The lens is going to be sold at 400 euros in Italy. That's the pricing in US over here. And the kit with these two cameras is going to be sold at 1,150 euros in Italy, and that's the pricing in US dollars over here. When it comes to video, what you want to do is just click your drive button and then scroll down or up if you want. And you get to movie, which is at the bottom of the list. And then if you want to set your camera properly, what you want to do is get to this movie setting list that you have over here, and this gets you the vast majority of the controls that you have on this camera. Starting from the resolutions, you start from 6.2K open gate 3x2 that you see over here. That goes up to 30 frames per second. And open gate is something you don't usually get on entry-level cameras like this one is. Then you have 4K 16:9 or 17:9 DCI. That gets up to 60 frames per second. And when you go to 60 frames per second, you get a small crop, 1.18. You see it over here. Not a big deal. It's a crop you can deal with. It's not gonna get a lot out of your camera. Where the crop becomes big is when you start using the digital image stabilization. It goes to 1.44, so you're losing a lot of the real estate of your image, but it's gonna stabilize more, so it should be okay for those situations where you need it. But when you go back to below 30 frames per second, you have no crop at all. Going back to the menus, what you want to see is the codecs capabilities that you have. You go from 8, we're in 4K, you go from 8 megabits per second up to 200, so plenty flexibility. You don't have the same flexibility in much higher end cameras if you want. And that also is true for open gate. The 6.2 open gate is not something that others have, even in professional cameras. It's starting to become more common, but it's not that common, especially not at this price point. And when it comes to codec, you have from H.264 420 up to H.265 422. So plenty of flexibility on this camera from every aspect. When it comes to photos, you get different drive functions. You have still image, continuous high speed burst, which is 8 frames per second with mechanical shutter, and it goes up to 30 frames per second with a crop in electronic shutter. You get continuous low, which is 5 frames per second. You get ISO bracketing, you get white balance bracketing, you get various film simulation bracketing, HDR, multi-exposure, advanced settings, and again, movie mode, which brings you to the movie. You can also switch to auto, and your front dial is going to move you between the various filters that you have over here, and you got plenty of flexibility even as an automatic camera, because this is good for beginners, but it's also good for more experienced users. You got plenty of customizable buttons and dials. You have 4 dials for controlling your exposure: front dial, back dial, shutter speed dial, and exposure simulation dial. You get plenty of customizable buttons. One is here, one is here. All of these are customizable. The Q button opens up a tile menu that gets you access to a lot of controls. You can customize that, and you should be able to basically get everything that you want without getting to the menus. And some have reported that they accidentally hit the button while using the camera. I believe that is muscle memory. It's not that big of a deal. But if you want to disable it, you can. Something that entry-level cameras don't usually have is this thing over here, which is the joystick. The joystick helps you move your focusing button over here, but also make your focusing point bigger, gets your areas and all of that, as long as you put your focusing area on all, which basically lets you rotate between all of these settings. It's a pretty complete camera. It's something that you should not overlook, because you can get everything that you want pretty much out of this camera. You also have this front flash over here, which helps you with fill-in, or when you're inside and there's not enough light, you can definitely use it to help you with this. And in general, you get plenty of flexibility. The rear screen and the EVF are pretty good, in line with, no, even better than the vast majority of entry-level cameras. So all in all, you should be able to get everything that you want out of a camera like this. The lens performs really well. It's of course an entry-level lens. It's not like your top-of-the-line lens. And to help you making the camera more compact, as compact as possible, it retracts. Of course, for you to use it, you just have to take it out from its compacted position, and then you can zoom in and out. Starting from 13 millimeters means you basically start from 20 millimeters equivalent, which is a huge addition when you're in tight spaces or you want to use a wider perspective. It's something that we didn't have on a zoom lens on Fuji, on a standard zoom lens on Fuji up until now. And it's a very useful thing. From an image quality standpoint, it's a decent lens. You should not expect the perfection out of a lens like this, but it's a decent lens, and it's a lens that will allow you to grow your skills and then eventually replace it with something else if you want. You don't have to plan for replacing this lens. So all in all, from both video and photo perspective, this camera gets pretty much everything that you can possibly ask. I personally love this color, the charcoal gray color. It's a color that, in my opinion, all Fujifilm X-T, X-E, and X Pro line should have. And I mean, I love it. And so after a few hours of shooting with this camera, of course, the weather hasn't been clement to us. It's been raining the whole day, and it was cloudy yesterday. So we don't have much variety of shots because the weather is like that, and sometimes you just have to live with what you have. But regardless, the camera was exactly how I was expecting it to be. It's an evolution, not a revolution, as already mentioned, and it does what it's supposed to do perfectly fine. It's a very good camera, very well priced. It's decently built for the price. It gets you everything that you can possibly ask, and then some, because, for example, when it comes to video features, this camera is way, way, way overkill for the vast majority of people looking for a camera in the $1,000 range. So you get a lot. And the sensor, despite being old, let's just say 7 years old, maybe more, 2018 if I'm not wrong, yes, 7-year-old, is pretty capable, plenty capable, and there's no need to replace this sensor on an entry-level camera. That sensor is exactly the sensor that I would have put on entry-level camera. Not too many megapixels, so no storage problems, no high ISO concerns. It's what this camera gives you is going to be more than enough for 95% of photographers 99% of the time. So definitely nothing wrong with this camera. Very well put together. And so if you're on the fence, if you are rocking an X-T10, X-T20 or something like that, and you want to upgrade, this is the camera to do so. If you were rocking the X-T30 Mark II or the previous X-T30, don't bother upgrading unless you absolutely need something that this camera has, which is the film simulation dial or the updated autofocus algorithms. I would say with those, they're plenty capable, and at the end of the day, the results that you're going to get are the same. But aside from that, if you're willing to experience your first camera, I would absolutely go with this. It's well put together, it's well built, it's basically, it gets you everything you can possibly need and then some, so you can grow with the camera. And that goes a long way. You don't have to plan for another investment in a year from now just because you got excited about photography. This is going to accompany you for a long, long, long time. Even the lens is plenty capable. Of course, it's not going to be the best lens in the world. You would not expect that from a kit lens anyways, especially from an XC line, which is supposed to be inexpensive, compact and lightweight. You would expect it to be decent, not perfect. And this is, of course, I haven't looked at the picture on my computer just yet, so I cannot speak intelligently about it, but looking at the screen, the lens is sharp enough, it's good enough that you don't have to bother. And the focal length is so convenient that it helps getting good pictures, because you can always crop and get to a longer focal length, but you can never go wider than you actually have. And so going back to the 13 millimeters, which is 20 millimeters equivalent, it's a huge, huge, huge help if you want to get grand vistas or if you find yourself in tight spaces. So for me, it's the entry-level camera that I would recommend to anyone because it's got no flaws. At the end of the day, it's got no flaws. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao and grazie.